Many people think about starting a podcast, but very few people actually go ahead and do it. And I thought we'd have a chat today with somebody who's actually gone ahead and done it. One of Australia's finest, most well-known family court barristers, Giles Stapleton, and he joins us today. Thank you so much for your time.
No, it's lovely to see you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm going really well.
Good.
What actually sparked your interest because how long in family law?
14 years. So I've been doing that for 14 years. I've been a barrister for 14 years. I think I just felt as though, as I get a little bit older, I want something I might do when I finish in the profession, or something to just keep me occupied while I'm sitting around thinking about other things.
You were a judge for 16 years.
Yes.
And you've been practicing law since before the introduction of the Family Law Act.
I was admitted 2 weeks before, or 3 weeks before the Family Law Act became law.
But mine is very different. It's all about legal people, legal issues, legal stuff, I guess. Nothing too technical, but just broadly the legal community and people in it.
Cross-examination.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, you could have gone with evidence in chief, but cross-examination.
Yeah, well, that's simply because someone just said to me, just got to have a really simple idea, a really simple concept. The X is a little bit of a play on something more interesting than the word cross. There's a barrister in London who has a podcast called Cross-Examination, so I didn't want to copy him either.
Yeah.
And it's really just, I guess, the job that we all do is talking to people, putting challenging propositions to them, listening to them, and then following on from that. So that's where it comes from.
Just in terms of logistics, you start off with an idea to do a podcast, and a lot of people do think about it, right?
Yeah.
Personal branding's massive.
Yep.
But what was the process for you going from, hey, this is an idea, hey, this might work, to finding a studio and having a go?
I was thinking of starting a different type of business, marketing for lawyers, and that I realised was going to be too risky, too expensive, too time-consuming. So I was just chatting to somebody that was helping me with that, who said, why don't you try these people who have a podcast studio? And so I went and spoke to a very enthusiastic guy called Steve Grace, who's on LinkedIn, who owns Nudge Productions. And he was just lovely. He said, you'd be great. Let's start now. So he started taking photos. He said, sit in the studio, talk to me.
That quick?
Yeah, well, literally within an hour, he said, right, we're doing this. And I was thinking, this is so uncomfortable.
Because this is the thing, right? You can wait until the right moment that never comes.
Yes,
and perfection paralysis kicks in, right? So that would have been helpful?
Yeah,
just
it was terrifying.
The deep end.
Actually,
Really?
To be honest, it was terrifying. I don't like listening to myself. I don't like looking at myself. I just like talking to people, and I thought, well, I'll be guided by you. If you think that this is going to be interesting, then I'll have a go. And so I was embarrassed about it for ages, and I took a long time to become comfortable, even confident to actually discuss it. My family were a little bit skeptical, my wife in particular, who remains somewhat still skeptical, but it's actually been a really fun journey so far of meeting really cool people, both in the production sense and also just the guests, and then the sponsors that I talk to. It's just amazing the conversations I have, which I love.
Yeah, you've tapped into two words that are close to my heart as a C-suite coach: confidence and comfort on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, you're no stranger to speaking in high-stakes moments of pressure when it counts. What were you finding uncomfortable about the context of a podcast studio?
So the first thing is, when you're in court, you're really talking to one judge, one person, or three at the most. In my case, I haven't spoken to 5 at the High Court yet, but you're talking to one person in a conversation like I'm having with you. You got people behind you, you got people beside you, but you're very engaged in that process. So I never get nervous about actually the conversation. I get nervous about some of the issues and the things we're talking about, but so that's a completely different thing to then actually have yourself seen by yourself through a camera. It's honestly completely different.
How are you feeling about it now? I mean, you're a few episodes in now.
Yeah. Well, I'm still deeply uncomfortable sitting in a chair, feeling middle-aged and old and grey, and But I don't know. I think that the process is deeply enjoyable. Sitting in a conversation with another person who's sharing themselves with me, and therefore being humble about the fact that it's going to go broader. And it's amazing, to be honest. I love it.
Are there things that you do to prepare, like just to deal with the nerves?
Yeah. Because it's not like a general consumption around, shall we say, like what's the weather like or what do you do in your life. I definitely prepare. So if I'm talking to a barrister or a judge, I'll have a very clear idea, obviously, who they are and what I want to talk to them about, and I'll ask them first. And then I've obviously spoken to a former Prime Minister, and that was actually really interesting because...
Had you met him before?
No, I hadn't. But it was interesting because I had a bit of a plan, and then on that particular day, he had put something in the Australian. And so his chief of staff rang me and said, you may not have seen this, but this is very topical, have a chat about that. So that's what we did. But that allowed me to bring the conversation back to the things I wanted to talk about, which I'd given him a sort of, if you like, a summary of before.
So cool. Hang on. So you've just approached a former Prime Minister and said, I've got a podcast, and what he just...
Look, it was a little bit more nuanced than that. Somebody, my first guest, had a connection to him through a connection of his. And so it was a little bit of a, how about it? And it took 3 or 4 months, and then I got put in touch with Tony's chief of staff. And then I sent him an email about things I'd like to talk about, and he rang me and we spoke about it, and it just all came together very nicely, actually.
Tony, thanks again for coming. The rule of law is the question I have.
You've got to aim high with your guest list, don't you?
Yeah, you definitely do.
You don't want to just go for boring people, right?
No, and so I've spoken to a judge, I've spoken to an Afghan soldier, or, a veteran from Afghanistan. And I've got some very cool people, barristers, criminal law solicitors. I'm looking at a couple of movie stars. I'm looking at a couple of ABC people, all of whom, for me, have an angle on legal issues.
At the end of the day, we're all humans, right? No matter what our profile or... And so why not ask, right?
Well,
if you don't ask, they won't say yes.
Precisely. So the actual idea came from sitting in around a fire in the Simpson Desert with my wife and children about 10 years ago. And I was talking to a coal miner from the Hunter Valley and just telling him about the then present case I was dealing with, or the week before, and he just was blown away by the stuff that we do. And most people don't know what we do. And so I just thought it's actually fascinating if people, the question I had was whether people would genuinely be interested in learning more about what we do, not because we want to tell them, so to say, but it might help them understand the system or have a bit more confidence in it, understand what lawyers do and judges do. So I just thought maybe I'd just bring that out, and that's what I'm trying to do, help people learn more about the law, the legal system, and all the people in it. So that's the intention.
Biggest lesson with managing a podcast for you so far? I mean, getting yourself comfortable in your own skin. Right?
Well, another thing is, of course, it does cost money to do it yourself. So I've been very blessed with a number of sponsors who are law firms, and in fact, a restaurant's going to sponsor an episode. I think it's all about being efficient in terms of the time you spend doing it, so you're not distracted from your job. But also, I've been very blessed to have my daughter join me as in the marketing sense, so that's been brilliant for us.
Meg, how do you know when your dad's feeling nervous about it? What's
well,
the
when
cue?
he's like nervous in front of like...
Yes.
Well, he gets a little jittery, he gets a little laughy, a little bit nervous.
Just much like you.
But then he always calls me after he films, and he's like bouncing with excitement, and he's like always talking about how amazing it was, so... he loves it, which is good.
It's literally a curiosity. It's sort of one of those funny things you say, a side hustle or a passion project. It's actually evolved from a curious thing into, actually, there's something in this and I quite enjoy it, and I may as well just keep seeing where it takes me.
I am proud of it. I think not a lot of people start a podcast at 56 years old, like they...
Or at any age, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. And, I mean, it came out of nowhere, so I think... what you've been doing really well so far, and he's always looking at new opportunities, new people to bring on and everything. So yeah, I am really proud of it.
In fact, if anything, I was thinking, why am I coming out from behind a bushel when none of my colleagues do, and what am I going to do to myself and my brand by actually doing it? So it was actually quite anxiety-inducing to even think about stepping out on this. But actually, as over the year, and as I now look back, I think actually I'm glad I am, because I do think that we're all involved in a progression in the way we promote ourselves, market ourselves. And I think that is something that the profession needs to think about, a more fluid way of marketing, a more fluid way of connecting to the community that they're trying to obtain clients from and influence.
What did you think when you first heard that he was going to do a podcast? I mean, I know what my kids would think about me going on social media.
Yeah. We were a bit like, what? We actually, I think at the beginning of this year, we had a family intervention because we were like, Dad like spends a lot of time during his actual work, like being a barrister. And we were like, how are you going to manage doing a podcast as well?
But it's more just the connections I make through the conversations I have with the people that are my clients, my sponsors, my guests, and it's broadening my network actually out from behind my desk. Because in a sense that, you know, as a barrister, you can get a little bit stuck behind the desk. You can get a little bit stuck in what you do. Your perspectives can become very narrow, and it's all very interesting. But I think this is opening my eyes back out to what life is like outside the bar, which is good. And so I'm in this little team of 3. It was me, and I couldn't have done it on my own. So now I have a team of 3 of us. Meg does a great job. Rohan in India does a great job, and together it's coming very nicely. So yeah.
5 years from now, when you look back and it's a success,
yes,
what will you have achieved?
Well, hopefully what I've achieved is I've allowed the public to actually have a resource they can go to for an understanding of individuals, individual law or legal issues, and then to connect to the sponsors that are firms that have thought that the alignment of their firm of practice with what I'm talking about and to whom I'm talking about, that might connect them to the right lawyer for them. So it's like I'm hoping to make a contribution to the community understanding of law. That's what I'm hoping. But you know, you have to start very small. You start very slowly. In 5 years, no idea.
Start small and aim high though, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm definitely aiming very high with the guests.
Testing stuff.
Where it goes, I have no idea, and it really doesn't matter. That's the nice thing. I care, but I don't care about the outcome. In other words, whatever happens, happens. Whether I'm still doing it, not doing it, whether I've made a difference, I hope I have, but we just wait and see. Yeah, so it's all about the guests, it's all about the distribution, it's all about the listeners. I'm just having fun doing it. And I'm not being paid. I'm doing it in my own spare time, and I am just enjoying the conversations like this, which is good for me. Yeah. So, and I'm much more comfortable asking questions than I am answering them. So
how are you feeling right now? How are the stress levels right now?
No, they're okay, but you're a master at this, so you've made me feel very good. So yeah.
Thanks for the insights, man.
Yeah,
and tell us where do we find it? YouTube?
Yes, so it's X, the letter X, examination, all one word, _podcast on YouTube, Spotify and Instagram. And I have a website which is www.x-examination.com.au. It's all there.
I think you do bring a more serious issues. Like some podcasts out there are very lighthearted, a bit more like advice, whereas this is actually diving into like the ins and outs of the people who's interviewing, like really thinking about what makes them special and how they come across to people, which I think is really interesting. It's not just about like how to be a good barrister or stuff. It's like actually what makes the barrister good at his job.
So if I can build a community of listeners and recordings and sponsors and connect people, that would be my ideal outcome.
Thanks.
So yeah,
good to chat, mate.
Thank you.